In the quiet hills of Tennessee, where the mist hangs low and the trees whisper secrets, a family lived a simple life on their farmstead. The year was 1817, and the Bell family was known for their hard work and kindness. John Bell, a respected farmer, and his wife had 3 children, the youngest being a spirited girl named Betsy. Life was peaceful, but as the sun set each night, an unseen darkness crept into their home. It all began with strange noises that echoed through the night. At first, the family brushed it off as the wind rustling the leaves, or perhaps an animal roaming too close to the house. But as days turned into weeks, the sounds grew louder and more disturbing. Scratches on the walls, footsteps in empty rooms, and the chilling sound of whispers that sent shivers down their spines. The children huddled together in fear, unable to sleep as the strange occurrences continued. Then came the night when Betsy, barely 9 years old, woke up to a cold hand gripping her arm. Terrified, she called out for her parents, but they were met with only the silence of the dark. As her father rushed to her side, he found nothing amiss, just the shadows dancing in the candlelight. But Betsy knew what she felt. Something was in their home, and it was not friendly. Days passed, and the haunting grew more intense. Betsy often felt a weight on her chest as she slept, as if an invisible force was pressing down on her. Her father, John, tried to reassure her, but he too could hear the whispers now, calling her name in the dead of night. The family grew anxious, their laughter replaced with worried glances and hushed conversations. One evening, while the family gathered for dinner, a loud bang echoed from the kitchen. They rushed to investigate, only to find dishes flying off the shelves as if an unseen hand was at play. Panic set in as they realized they were not alone. Something wicked was haunting their home, and it was just the beginning of their nightmare. As the days turned into weeks, the eerie disturbances in the Bell household became impossible to ignore. At first, the family tried to rationalize the strange happenings. Perhaps it was a wild animal, they thought, or the wind playing tricks on them. But deep down, they sensed a sinister presence that lingered just beyond the edges of their understanding. Betsy's once vibrant laughter faded into nervous whispers. She began to dread the night, often clutching her blanket tightly as she lay in bed, her heart racing with fear. It was during one of these restless nights that the true horror began. While the family slept, she felt an icy chill envelop her, and the unmistakable sensation of fingers brushing against her skin. Terrified, she sat up in bed, gasping for breath, only to find herself alone in the darkness. The next day, she confided in her mother, but the older woman merely dismissed her fears. "It's just your imagination, dear," she said, attempting to soothe her. But as the nights continued, Betsy's experiences grew more frightening. Shadows danced in her periphery, and whispers echoed through the walls, calling her name with a haunting familiarity. One evening, as the family gathered around the fireplace, they were jolted by a loud crash from the other room. Rushing to see what had happened, they found a chair overturned and a few items scattered across the floor. The children exchanged terrified glances, and John Bell's expression darkened. Something was clearly amiss, and it was becoming harder to deny. As the haunting escalated, even the adults began to experience unsettling events. John would hear footsteps following him as he worked in the fields, while his wife felt a sudden coldness sweep through the house, leaving her shivering despite the warm summer air. The atmosphere thickened with dread, and the once cheerful home became a place of fear and uncertainty. Betsy, feeling isolated in her terror, began to believe that she was the target of this malevolent force. As her father tried to maintain a brave front, the family could no longer pretend everything was fine. The haunting had arrived, and it was far from over. They were caught in a web of darkness, with no escape in sight. As the haunting continued, the Bell family grew desperate for answers. They could no longer ignore the terror that gripped their home. It was clear that something far more sinister than mere mischief was at play. One fateful night, as the family sat in the dim light of their living room, they heard a series of loud knocks echoing through the walls. It was a rhythmic sound, as if someone or something was trying to communicate. Betsy, trembling with fear, suggested that perhaps the spirit wanted to reveal its identity. With a mixture of courage and dread, John Bell called out into the darkness, asking the unseen presence to show itself. To their shock, the knocking responded with a series of taps, corresponding to the letters of the alphabet. The family held their breath, hearts racing as they began to piece together the messages. The witch identified herself as Kate Batts, a woman from the area who had a long-standing grudge against John Bell. Years ago, a dispute over land had escalated into bitter resentment, leading Kate to curse the family. As the truth of her identity sank in, a wave of cold fear washed over them. They had not only been haunted, they had been targeted. With each passing day, the witch's presence became more pronounced. She mocked the family with eerie laughter, her voice echoing in the corners of the home. Betsy's torment intensified as Kate took a particular interest in her, often appearing to the young girl in her dreams, whispering cruel taunts that left Betsy shaken to her core. The little girl struggled to find peace, her innocence shattered by the relentless torment. As the witch's fury grew, so did the family's sense of helplessness. They sought out local spiritualists and folks known for their connection to the supernatural, hoping to find a way to rid themselves of Kate's malevolent spirit. But each attempt only seemed to strengthen her grip on their lives. The witch revealed her intentions more clearly. She sought vengeance and would not rest until John Bell paid the ultimate price. In the depths of their despair, the Bell family realized they were caught in a battle against a powerful spirit with a vendetta, and there was no end in sight. The once happy home had become a prison of fear, with no escape from the torment of the Bell Witch. As the days turned into nights, the Bell Witch's torment escalated beyond anything the family could have imagined. Each evening brought new horrors, and soon the house was filled with an air of suffocating dread. The sounds that once manifested as mere knocks had evolved into something much darker. Unexplainable growls, hisses, and the chilling echoes of laughter that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to linger too long. Betsy was at the center of the witch's fury. It was as if Kate Batts had made her the target of her wrath, and the young girl found herself waking up in the night, screaming and gasping for air. As invisible hands clawed at her, her parents watched in helpless agony as their daughter suffered, unable to protect her from the malicious spirit that invaded their home. The family's attempts to fight back were met with further hostility. When they brought in local spiritualists to perform cleansing rituals, the witch responded with violent outbursts. Furniture would fly across the room, and the very walls seemed to pulse with rage. Neighbors, curious about the Bell family's plight, gathered outside their home, but were met with nothing more than the unsettling sounds of a family in despair. The townspeople began to whisper, sharing tales of the Bell Witch that only fueled the family's isolation. One stormy night, as thunder rumbled outside, the witch unleashed her fury like never before. The family huddled together in the living room, the flickering candlelight casting eerie shadows on the walls. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed. A bone-chilling cold swept through the room, and the sound of the witch's laughter echoed louder than ever. It was as if the very air had thickened with malevolence. In a fit of rage, the witch focused her attention on John Bell. She began to taunt him directly, whispering dark secrets that cut deep. He felt as if she were reaching into his mind, exposing his fears and vulnerabilities. Each night he grew weaker, haunted not only by the physical manifestations of the witch's wrath, but also by the psychological torment that left him feeling utterly defeated. The family's home, once filled with laughter and warmth, had transformed into a haunting shell of its former self. The Bell Witch had turned their lives into a living nightmare, and hope began to dwindle as they realized they were trapped in a web of terror, spun by a vengeful spirit with an insatiable thirst for revenge. As the darkness closed in around them, they knew the fight for their lives and their souls was far from over. Desperate for relief from the torment, the Bell family sought help from anyone who claimed to have knowledge of the supernatural. They summoned local doctors, spiritualists, and even neighbors who were known for their connection to the otherworldly. Yet despite their efforts, the witch's grip only seemed to tighten, as if she reveled in their desperation. One evening, they invited a well-known spiritualist, a man named James Johnston, to their home. With a reputation for confronting spirits, Johnston arrived with an air of confidence. As he entered, he felt the heavy weight of darkness in the air, a sensation that sent a chill down his spine. He began his rituals, burning sage and chanting incantations, hoping to drive the malevolent force away. The family watched with bated breath, clinging to the hope that this would finally put an end to their nightmare. But as Johnston called upon the witch, a fierce wind whipped through the room, extinguishing the candles and plunging them into darkness. The walls trembled with angry knocks, and the witch's laughter echoed louder than ever. "You cannot chase me away," she taunted, her voice dripping with malice. Johnston, unnerved by the sheer power of the spirit, stumbled backward, realizing he was in over his head. The family felt defeated. Each failed attempt to rid themselves of the witch left them more exhausted, both physically and emotionally. Word of their plight spread throughout the community, drawing curious onlookers who arrived to witness the hauntings. But rather than helping, their presence only intensified the tension, as the witch fed off the fear and energy of the crowd. Feeling hopeless, John Bell decided to confront the witch directly. One stormy night, he gathered his family in the living room and, with a tremor in his voice, called out to Kate Batts. "What do you want from us?" he demanded, his heart pounding. The air grew thick with silence before the witch's voice broke through, mocking him. "Your soul is mine, John Bell. You will pay for your wrongs." In that moment, the reality of their situation became clear. They were trapped in a nightmare with no way out. The witch was not merely a spirit haunting their home. She was a force of vengeance with a singular goal. As the shadows danced around them, the Bell family felt a chilling wave of despair wash over them, knowing they were in the grip of something far more powerful than they could ever comprehend. As the nights dragged on, the tension in the Bell household reached a breaking point. The witch's taunts and physical assaults had grown more aggressive, targeting John Bell relentlessly. He became a shell of his former self, weary and haunted by the constant barrage of terror. Betsy too suffered, her laughter replaced by haunting cries as the witch tormented her in her dreams. One particularly stormy evening, lightning illuminated the sky, casting eerie shadows across the walls. John gathered his family in the living room, determined to confront the witch one final time. He felt that if they were to escape this nightmare, he had to stand firm against her malevolence. With trembling hands, he lit a candle, the flickering flame symbolizing the last flicker of hope in their hearts. "Kate Batts," he shouted into the dark, "I demand that you leave us in peace. We have wronged you, but we are not your enemies. Let us go." The wind howled outside and the air grew thick with anticipation. For a moment there was silence, as if the world itself held its breath. Suddenly the room erupted in chaos. The walls shook and the witch's laughter echoed through the air like a sinister melody. "You think you can demand anything from me?" she sneered. The temperature dropped and the family felt an icy chill seep into their bones. John's heart raced, but he refused to back down. "I will not let you take us," he cried, desperation fueling his voice. In response, the witch unleashed her fury. The candle flickered violently as gusts of wind swirled around the room, extinguishing it in an instant. The family was plunged into darkness, their breaths quickening with fear. In that suffocating void, John felt an overwhelming force press down on him, as if the very essence of the witch was consuming his spirit. As the shadows danced wildly, the witch's voice grew louder, drowning out the thunder outside. "Your soul is mine, John Bell. You will suffer for your actions." The ground trembled beneath them, and the family clung to each other, feeling utterly powerless against the darkness that surrounded them. With one final burst of energy, John screamed into the void, "I will not let you take me." But even as he shouted, he felt his strength waning. The witch's laughter echoed triumphantly as she tightened her grip. In that harrowing moment, it became clear. The battle was lost. The darkness enveloped him, and with it, the flicker of hope extinguished, leaving only the chilling laughter of the Bell Witch reverberating through the night. In the aftermath of that fateful night, the Bell family's life took a dark turn. John Bell, once a strong and proud man, succumbed to the witch's relentless torment. He grew increasingly frail, trapped in a web of despair and fear. Betsy, witnessing the slow decline of her father, felt a deep sense of helplessness. The laughter and joy that once filled their home had vanished, replaced by an atmosphere of dread and sorrow. As John's health deteriorated, the witch's presence became even more pronounced. It was as if she fed off his suffering, growing stronger with each passing day. Neighbors began to notice the changes at the Bell farm. Whispers of the haunting spread like wildfire, turning the family into local legends. People came from far and wide, drawn by curiosity and fear, eager to witness the infamous Bell Witch for themselves. In the weeks that followed, John Bell passed away, leaving behind a devastated family. His death was shrouded in mystery, with many believing that the witch had claimed him as her final victory. The funeral was a somber affair, attended by friends, neighbors, and those who had come to see if the stories were true. As they lowered his body into the ground, a chilling wind swept through the gathering, and some swore they heard the faint echoes of laughter in the distance. Betsy, unable to escape the shadow of the witch, became increasingly withdrawn. The torment she had endured left deep scars, and she struggled to reclaim her childhood. The haunting that had gripped her family became a constant presence in her life. She often felt the witch's cold breath on her neck, a reminder of the darkness that had invaded her home. In time, the Bell family abandoned their farm, unable to bear the weight of their loss. The house fell into disrepair, becoming a ghostly shell of what it once was. Locals claimed to see strange lights flickering in the windows at night and heard whispers echoing through the trees. The legend of the Bell Witch only grew, entwined with the tragic tale of the Bell family. To this day, the story serves as a chilling reminder of the supernatural forces that can haunt the living. The Bell Witch became a symbol of terror, a warning of the darkness that can lurk just beyond our understanding. And though the Bell family is no longer there, the witch remains, a haunting specter in the hearts and minds of those who dare to speak her name. As night falls in Tennessee, her laughter still echoes through the hills, a ghostly reminder of the horror that once consumed a family and the legacy of fear that endures. The legend of the Bell Witch has woven itself into the very fabric of American folklore, capturing the imaginations of generations. It serves as a stark reminder that some forces are beyond human comprehension, lingering in the shadows of our reality. For those who dare to delve into the history of the Bell family, their story is more than just a ghost tale. It is a chilling account of vengeance, fear, and the darkness that can invade our lives. Even now, visitors to the old Bell farm report eerie sensations and unexplained occurrences. Many claim to feel a chill in the air, a weight pressing down upon them, as if the witch herself is still watching. Campers near the area often recount stories of strange sounds echoing through the night, and some even say they have glimpsed a shadowy figure lurking just beyond the trees. As new generations discover the tale, they share their own experiences, adding to the rich tapestry of the Bell Witch legend. Ghost tours and paranormal investigations draw curious thrill seekers, each hoping to encounter a fragment of the horror that gripped the Bell family so many years ago. Yet, with each telling, the fundamental truth remains. The fear of the unknown is a powerful force, and some spirits never truly rest. The Bell Witch's influence reaches beyond mere fright. It challenges our understanding of life and death, the seen and the unseen. As long as people gather to share the tale, the witch will endure, her legacy a haunting reminder that the darkest corners of our world can hold terrifying secrets. In the quiet moments of the night, when the wind howls through the trees, one might still hear her laughter, a chilling echo of the horrors that once befell the Bell family, a ghostly reminder that some stories are never truly over. The story of the Bell Witch is not just a chilling ghost tale, it serves as a cautionary narrative that resonates with the fears and uncertainties of human existence. It explores themes of revenge, the consequences of unresolved conflicts, and the fragility of peace. The haunting legacy left by Kate Batts and the Bell family prompts us to reflect on our own lives and the shadows that might linger in our past. In examining the Bell Witch legend, we confront our deepest fears, the fear of the unknown, the vulnerability of our loved ones, and the possibility that not all spirits rest in peace. It reminds us that there are forces in this world that we cannot fully understand, and sometimes our attempts to confront them only draw us deeper into their grasp. The haunting remains a powerful testament to the impact of unresolved grievances and the darkness that can emerge from them. It is a reminder that our actions can have consequences far beyond our understanding, echoing through time and affecting generations. As the tale of the Bell Witch continues to captivate and terrify, it invites us to ponder the weight of our own choices and the spirits that might still haunt us in the quiet corners of our lives. Ultimately, the legend of the Bell Witch endures because it speaks to the universal human experience, the struggle against unseen forces, and the yearning for understanding in a world full of mystery. As we share this story, we keep the memory of the Bell family alive, honoring their journey while acknowledging the enduring power of fear and the supernatural. In the end, the Bell Witch is not just a ghost. She is a reminder of the complexities of life, death, and everything that lies in between.